root out.
It's like you did verse 8, okay?
Did I? Come. I can go back to 8. Verse 8. Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee, saith the Most High. Then the Most High put forth his hand and touched my mouth. And the Most High said unto me, Behold, I have put my words in thy mouth.
Right, so the Most High puts his words upon our mouth. Right, keep going.
Con. Verse 10. See, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out and to pull down, and to destroy and to throw down, to build and to plant.
Right, so the Most High, he gives us the word upon the children of Israel. Right, he reveals his word unto us. Right, and with that, we're going to just jump.
Why do we say Yahweh and Yahweh Shai?
Right, so the word Yahweh means he is. Right, the true name of the Father, and Yahweh Shai is means the Hebrew saves. Right, let's get a book of Acts chapter 4 verse 12. That's why it's very important that we know the words of the Father, right, and his Son. Right, let's get the book of Acts chapter 4 verse 12. Right, it's an excellent question. Right. Right, you get the book of Acts chapter 4 verse 12.
Acts chapter 4 verse 12.
Say
Say come, you got it.
Say come when you got it.
This is the book of Acts chapter 4 and verse 12.
Right.
Neither is there salvation in any other.
Right, there's no salvation in any other name. Keep going.
For there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved.
Right, so we have to understand the true names of the Most High. Right? It's important for our salvation. Right? Let's get the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 13. Right? Let's get the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 18. Right? Psalm chapter 83, verse 18. We have to understand the name of the Most High. Right? Look at the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 18.
Say come, you got it. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 18.
Right?
That men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh,
right, whose name alone is Yahweh, keep going,
art the most high over all the earth.
Right, so we know his name alone is Yahweh. Right? What you guys say?
But it says Jehovah.
Right, Jehovah, but we have to understand this is written, when you see, when it's in the capital letters, right? When you see L-O-R-D in capital letters, that just goes back to the Tetragrammaton. Right? That's all that's dealing with, right? We can actually, let me see, I think the word Jehovah just goes back to the same context of what we call Yahweh, the existing word, right? The one that exists. Right?
And also, we talk about the name Yahweh. So if you go to Exodus chapter 3, verse 15. So we know that the Most High was called many names, right? But when we talk about the Tetragrammaton, when it was translated to Yahweh, right? This is using the old language. When we talk about the new language, we know that Jehovah, there was no J in the English tongue. There was no, or the Hebrew tongue. There was no J in the Hebrew tongue, so it couldn't have been Jehovah or it couldn't have been Jesus, right? So we know that he was being called something else. You just got to go into the Hebrew and start breaking it down. That's why we didn't bring it out today, but when we look in the book of Sirach, in the monologue, the prologue of Sirach, it talks about the Hebrew being the strongest language. We'll get that right. Yeah, let's get that.
You want 3:14?
Yeah, start at
14. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 3, and verse 14. And the Most High said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you.
So when that's translated, it's translated into he is, right? You read it?
Verse 15. And the Most High said moreover unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, the most high power of your fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob, hath sent me unto you. This is my name forever.
That is his name forever, right? So there was many names that he was being called. So, for example, in this one, it says the power of the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, right? This is my name forever, Right. So when we talk about the name Jehovah, like I was breaking down, we know for a fact it couldn't have been Jehovah that they were calling.
Yeah. Right. Even when you go in the Hebrew literature, it says Yehovah, all right? Or we talk about the Yisrael, right? But it means the existing one.
Yeah.
Right? That's all it comes down to, the existing one, or the self-existing one, or the eternal, right?
It's like, even too, like when you look at the word Jehovah or Jesus, Jehovah doesn't have a meaning.
Right.
It's an English word. It can't equate to what the Hebrew is saying.
Right.
For example, when you say Yahweh, Yah is he, and Wah is exist or to be.
Right.
That has a meaning. Jehovah has no meaning.
Right.
Jesus has no meaning. It has.
So bring that out in Sirach.
The book of Sirach, this is the prologue of Sirach. I'll get to the point. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them.
It doesn't have the same force. So just like what Captain Yaakov is bringing out, it doesn't have the same force. Okay, you might be able to call him Jehovah, but does it have the same force as Yahweh?
Right.
Or Yahweh Shah? Right? So that's one thing we got to understand. The Hebrew tongue is the most powerful tongue on this earth, on the planet, according to the Bible.
It's like it too. That's important to even get into the language, because even when you look at the characters have meaning.
Right.
Like Abba, you got the ram, and then you got the house, the house, the head of the house.
Right.
That has a meaning, or the ox horn. That has a meaning to it. English letters, characters, they don't have such meaning.
Right. Right. You can talk about the end time prophecy. It tells us that his name shall be one. Right? We know what his name is. He's going to have that one name throughout eternity. Right, let's get that one last scripture. Let's go to Zechariah 14:9. You got another question, sis? I'll praise the Most High. So we understand when we talk about the Hebrew tongue, this is why we have to go back to the Hebrew. Right? Before we get that, let's get Acts 22:1.
I just want to say this. If we have questions, ask them now. This is the place you want to ask them. The last thing I want you to do is go back outside and then somebody starts confusing you. Let us break it down here so we can give you that solid foundation. Like, okay, this is irrefutable. Like you can't debate this. Right? I want everybody to make sure to ask them questions. This is the place where you want to ask them questions.
Let's go to Acts 21:40. All right, Acts 21:40, because the apostles and prophets, they'll speak in what? In the Hebrew tongue. Right?
21.
Acts 21:40.
So would Buddhists be considered Israel because they too speak the Hebrew language?
Sorry, what you
Buddhists.
Buddhists?
Yeah.
Would they be what?
Would they be considered Israel because they too speak the Hebrew language?
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily.
Buddhism?
Buddhists, they speak Hebrew. No, I don't think speaking the language would necessarily
Constitute you being a part of the nation.
Yeah.
That's a bloodline. It's nationality.
No, I was gonna say
He came out of the woodworks.
Buddhism is a religion. There may be Israelites in Buddhism,
Yeah.
but there are no. As far as I know, I have not seen a Buddhist come and speak in Hebrew. You have to show me that. That'll be crazy. But as far as they said the right thing when they said the language doesn't say that you can.
Because it's a lot of Hebrews.
There's a lot of Hebrews.
Exactly.
Right, there's a lot of Hebrews. Right? Right, so look at the book of Acts chapter 21, verse 40.
Con, this is the book of Acts, chapter 21 and verse 40. And when he had given him license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spake unto them in the Hebrew tongue,
Keep going.
saying, Men, brethren, and fathers, hear ye my voice, my defense, which I make now unto you. And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence. And he said,
Right, so you see that Paul, he was also speaking in the Hebrew tongue. Right, and they kept the more silence because they was understanding the things that he was saying. Right, he spoke in the Hebrew tongue. Right, you have something?
Yeah.
All right, come. Right, so this is why we go into the Hebrew, because it's our original language. Right, you got another question, please?
So what is the difference if we read the scriptures in Hebrew tongue or we read it in English in a Christian church?
What do you mean, what's the difference?
So, I understand. So, I mean, if you go back to the scripture that he just read, right, in the prologue of Sirach, our forefathers, remember, they said that the same things uttered in Hebrew, when you say it in the Hebrew tongue, it has more force than the English tongue. The language we speak right now, it's a broken language, right? It's a language that we never knew. Our forefathers never knew this language, right? So, do the words have meaning, what we're saying right now? Yes, you can understand it, right now. But when we talk Hebrew, the Hebrew tongue has more force than any other language on the planet. That's why it's so important to understand and learn the Hebrew tongue. When we talk about Hebrew names, they have meaning. We talk about the name of Yahweh, that has a meaning. All the words, when you speak it in Hebrew, it has more force than the English tongue, the Spanish tongue, the French tongue, all of these things, right? So, even when you talk about the Bible, the original scriptures is written in Hebrew. There's a reason for that. That was the first language, that was the original language that the Most High created on this planet.
And I wanted to do another point on that as well, is because why it's so important for us to understand the Hebrew tongue is that there's a lot of words in the English tongue that if you don't understand the Hebrew word of it, you're going to be confused.
Yeah.
There's not one definition for stranger. There's not one definition for Gentile. There's not one definition for virgin. There's not one definition for heathen. Right? There's different definitions for now in the English tongue. You might just apply to every context.
Right.
But when you understand the Hebrew, you understand that these words that we see in English, there's a different word for that in the Hebrew. Right? So that's why it's very important. Like, because you can read, like, for example, without having the understanding of the Hebrew, let's get an example of that, right? Let's go to Exodus 12, right? One of my favorite examples, right? Let's go to Exodus 12. Right? Because if we read this straight through in the English, it's going to sound like the Bible literally just contradicted itself without having the understanding of the Hebrew tongue, right? Let's get the book of Exodus chapter 12, verse 43. Right? Say calm with me down, right? The book of Exodus chapter 12, verse 43. Right?
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 12, and verse 43. And the Most High said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof.
Now the Bible is saying no stranger shall eat the Passover, right? Now let's go to verse 48.
Verse 48. And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to the Most High.
Wait, hold on. The Bible just said that a stranger cannot eat the Passover. But now verse 48 says that the stranger can come and eat the Passover. Keep going.
Let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof.
Right, so now you see in verse 48, it's saying that a stranger can eat the Passover if they just circumcise themselves. But verse 43 says, a stranger shall not keep the Passover. Right, so then what does that tell you? These are two different words for stranger. Right, in verse 43, that's the word ben nakar. Right, ben nakar, no, Salakia, gar. Right, gar, that's a Salakia. Ben nakar. Ben is son, right, and nakar is of a stranger. So, son of the stranger in verse 43. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover, there shall no stranger or no ben nakar eat thereof. Now the word for stranger in verse 48 is not ben nakar, it's gar, right? That's a whole different word. But in the English tongue, if I say, yo, you a stranger, and I say you a stranger, you just said the same word.
Exactly.
But in the Hebrew tongue, there's two completely different words in the Hebrew tongue, right? And this is why this is just one of the examples of why when we see that word, for example, stranger, heathen, Gentile, these things have different meanings when you talk about the Hebrew, right? Would you guys okay? I'll come. Acts 26, 14, we can get that later. You guys okay?
Yeah, I want to bring something out too. Like, not to go too deep into science, right? When we talk about the like vibrations of words, right? There's vibrations connected to words. Like there's an old saying that, you know, by the words you say you can't hurt. You know, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt. That's not true according to the scriptures, right? You can break somebody down. You can break them down spiritually and make them want to jump off a bridge by the words you say, right? So when we talk about just the weight of words, the words that we speak in the Hebrew, they have a certain weight to it that the Most High equates to something great. So, I just wanted to put that out there. The Hebrew tongue is the most important language on this planet.
Right? Right, so we understand that, right? When we talk about, even for the word for stranger, if we had no understanding of the Hebrew tongue, it would literally look like, well, the same stranger that was commanded not to keep the Passover can just now get circumcised and keep the Passover. Right? That wouldn't make any sense. Right? So even if we talk about the word Gentile, the word Gentile can apply to a Hebrew and a non-Hebrew. Right? But when you see the word Gentile, you just think that it's talking about any other nation. Right? Right? So you got another point you want to bring up? Yeah, come on, Acts 26 and 14.
Con. Acts chapter 26 and verse 14. Say con when you got it. Con. This is the book of Acts, chapter 26 and verse 14.
Right?
And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue.
The what?
In the Hebrew
Keep
tongue.
going.
Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks.
Right, so even Yahushua, he's speaking in this Hebrew tongue. Right? This is the language of our forefathers. Right? Let's get at Matthew 26 and 41. Right? Even when he was praying to the Most High. Right? He said, Eli, Eli, right? Right? We get the book of Matthew, chapter 26 and verse 41. No, that's not what I want. That's definitely what I want. Matthew 27 and 46. Right? Come on. Matthew 27 and 46. Come on. Right? Matthew 27 and 46. Stay calm when you got it.
Matthew chapter 27 and verse 46.
Right?
Con. This is the book of Matthew chapter 27 and verse 46.
Uh-huh.
And about the ninth hour, Yahushua cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani.
Right?
That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Right, so we see even Yahushua, he's speaking in this Hebrew tongue. Right? Eli, Eli, we talk about that's Elo or Elohim. Right? The angels are my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Right? Come, what you got, sis?
Where can one purchase the Bible in Hebrew?
I mean, I know there was that one elder that he had the whole Bible in Hebrew. I think that- Yeah, come. There's a couple. You might have to like get.
You gotta find that.
Yeah.
I know a website where you can get the Old Testament in the Paleo Hebrew. It's called Old Testament, paralleloldtestament.com. You can get the whole. I'll put it in the chat.
But that is an excellent question to ask them. Those are great questions. You know. So all praise to the Most High. What you got? Yes,
No, I was just trying to understand that the first question she had asked, like, about Christian church and us. I didn't understand the question.
Oh well, basically, from my understanding, well,
From my understanding, the question was, how do we know we're not saying the same thing that the Christian church is saying? Was that the question?
No, the question was, what is the difference with reading the scripture in Hebrew, where in a Christian church it's in English? Like, what's the difference?
Proverbs 28:11. Stammering lips. I put it in the chat, Cap. The website.
and there's certain things you're just not going to understand without going into the Hebrew. Like for example, how we just brought out that definition for adoption, right? In the adoption, you just read the adoption, or the adoption is for anybody. Right? When we read adoption, is literally for the children of Israel that's being grafted back into the Most High, right? You got that precept? 28 and 11. 28 and 11? You said
No.
Proverbs or Isaiah?
Isaiah.
Come on, Isaiah 28 and 11.
I put it in the YouTube chat, Cap. Right.
Con. Proverbs 20 and 11 says, stay calm when you got it. Isaiah, Proverbs. Isaiah, Salaki, y'all. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 11. Stay calm when you got it.
So I said 20.
28 and verse 11. Con, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 28 and verse 11. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to his people.
Right? So with stammering lips and another tongue shall he speak to his people. But, you know, even just as, you know, referring to ourselves as Hebrew Israelites, understanding the Hebrew is very important. Right? Just going into these things, like, there's so many examples I can go into. I got one more example I want to break down as well. Because a lot of people try to use this verse to try to prove a point. And this is why it's so important to go into the Hebrew as well. Give me the book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 17. Right? Let's see something right here. All right? Let's go to the book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 17. And multiple shot king. If you could try to give me that word in the Hebrew in Esther 8, 17. Right? Let me see why it's very important, why even understanding the Hebrew cuts a lot of doctrine as well. Right? Let me get there real quick. All right, right. This is my last scripture we're going to have for the portion. Say, Khan, when you got it. We're going to go to the book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 17. Right? Everybody there?
Con. This is the book of Esther, chapter 8 and verse 17.
Right?
And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day.
Right?
And many of the people of the land became Jews.
And many of the what?
Many of the people of the land became
Now,
Jews.
this is the doctrine that people teach. See, you could become a Jew. You could literally become a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob just by following the custom. Right? It says, and many of the people of the land became Jews because what?
For the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
Now let's see what that word for Jew is in the Hebrew. Because now they can just take it and say, see, they're now a Jew. They're actually a descendant of Jacob.
Right.
But let's see what that actual word for Jew is. Now read that. Right? Outline of biblical usage. Right? Now this is what that word for Jew. Right?
The word Jew
Is what?
to become a Jew
In what?
in fact or in fraud.
In what?
In fact or in
Now
fraud.
they're a Jew in fraud. Yahad. Right? So now, but if you read that in the English tongue, you say, oh, well, the Jew is the same, they just became a Jew.
Right.
Right? But that word for Jew is actually Yahad. Right? So, so there's the Yahad is dealing with the fake Jew, but Yahudi is dealing with the real Jews. Right? But you're not going to have an understanding just by going off the English tongue. Right? Everybody understands that, right? What you got, King?
You can't become a Jew just like you can't become a Japanese or Chinese.
Right.
God.
Exactly.
Right? Right. All right, but sis, you understand that point, right? Come on, no praise.
What is the difference between a Jew and a Hebrew Israelite Jew?
Well, the word Hebrew just means that we descend from the man Eber, right? So when we say Hebrew, that's mean we descend from the man Eber. Every Jew is a Hebrew, but not every Hebrew is a Jew, right? So yeah, it just means that we descend from the man Eber, right? That's where that word Hebrew comes from. But a Hebrew Jew and a Hebrew Israelite, it's pretty much the same thing, but it's just the southern kingdom is referred to as the Jews, quote unquote, and the northern kingdom is referred to as the Israelites, right? What you got, sis?
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to ask about, that Jew were, the actual Jew himself is Judah, the tribe of Judah, right?
Right.
We only call Jew like the Benjamite
So Judah, Benjamin,
and the Levites because we had fallen apart. We became
Right.
northern and southern kingdom.
Right.
Yeah, but the real Jew is Judah, right?
Right, come on. Right, you can say that, right.
If I'm not mistaken, she was asking about, you talking about the Jews over in Israel right now, what's the difference? She's talking about what's the difference between them and the
Okay, so now there's a
Jewish.
difference between an Israeli and an Israelite. An Israeli is an inhabitant of the land of Israel. An Israelite, that word "ite," that the prefix, right? The prefix "ite" needs to be a descendant. Suffix, Salakia. Suffix, the suffix "ite" needs to be a descendant of. When you say you're a Moabite, an Ishmaelite, a Jebusite, a Canaanite, that means you're a descendant of the people, right? We are descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? They're just inhabitants of the land, right? An Israeli is just an inhabitant of the country. We are the actual descendants of the people of the man Jacob.
And they know that, and that's why they call themselves Israeli.
Right.
They never refer to themselves as Israelites, ever.
Right? But let's get Revelation 2 and 9 right quick. Right? Revelation 2 and 9.
Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9 say, "Come when you got it." Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9. And then we'll jump over to Revelation chapter 3 and verse 9. Take on, you got it. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 9.
Right.
I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not,
Right.
but are the synagogue of Satan.
Right. So these people that try to take our identity, that refer to them, that you got to be careful with these words. You know, YouTube gonna flag the YouTube. Right? When we talk about the 1948ers, right? The Khazars, the Amalekites, right? These people are the fraudulent, right? The copyright, right? The plagiarized, quote unquote, Jews. The 1948ers, the Amalekites, the Khazars. Yahad. Right.
Go on. Yeah.
Yahad. Right, Khan. But we see, you know, this is not the first time we see in the scriptures where there was people that were becoming, quote unquote, like the Jews, right? One last scripture, we go jump into the portion. Let's get Revelation 3 and 9. We got this one. Let's get 1 Kings 12 and 31 right there. We see even in ancient times, there was people that's literally hijack or embody the actual Jew, right? Let's go to the book of 1 Kings chapter 12 and 31. Even in ancient times, there was people that was trying to be like the nation, but they were not the nation, right? I want to make sure everybody gets this point. 1 Kings chapter 12 verse 31. I want to make sure everybody gets there, right? But we see even in ancient times, right? There was people that was becoming tribes, but they were not actual descendants of the tribe, right? Say comment, you got it. The book of 1 Kings chapter 12 verse 31. I want to make sure everybody gets this point.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 12 and verse 31.
Is everybody there? Oh, no, praise God. Read that.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 12 and verse 31.
Right.
And he made an house of high places and made priests of the lowest of the people.
Now he was making priests. I think this is talking about the king. I'm not talking about. I think this is
Jeroboam.
Jeroboam, right? He made priests of the lowest people. Now, who are the priests according to the Bible? The Levites. That's only for the priests. That's only for the Levites. Now he made priests of the lowest people. Now he's creating these people as being the actual priests. But keep going.
Which were not of the sons of Levi.
They were not even of the sons of Levi. So we see even in ancient times there were priests that was being called priests, but they're not even the sons of Levi. Right? So these are the Yahad, right? So we see even in ancient times that was going on. Right? So you know, all praise to the Most High. We definitely gonna open it up for questions at the end as well. All praise to the Most High. You know, it's always good to ask questions, and this is the whole purpose of the class, right? Defending the faith, learning these things, coming back to the basics, right? The chief things and the principles of the Most High, right? So we're gonna jump into the portion, very short portion today. This is good portion. We're gonna start at Deuteronomy 1 and 1 to Deuteronomy 3 and 22. Okay. Deuteronomy 1 and 1.
Deuteronomy 1 and 1, say, Colin, you got it. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1 and verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan, in the wilderness, in the plain over against the Red Sea, between Paran and Tophel and Laban and Hazeroth and the Zahab. There are 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir unto Kadesh Barnea. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moses spake unto the children of Israel, according unto all the Most High had given him in commandment unto them. And he had slain Sihon, the king of the Amorites, which dwelt in Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, which dwelt at Ashtaroth in Edrei. On this side Jordan, in the land of Moab, began Moses to declare this law, saying, The Most High our power spake unto us in Horeb, saying, Ye have dwelt long enough in this mount. Turn ye and take your journey, and go to the mount of the Amorites, and into all the places nigh thereunto, in the plain, in the hills, and in the valley, and in the south, and by the seaside, to the land of the Canaanites, and unto Lebanon, unto the great river, the river Euphrates.
Right.
Behold, I have set the land before you. Go in and possess the land which the Most High sware unto your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give unto them, to their seed, to give unto them and to their seed after them.
Right.
And I spake unto you at the time, saying, I am not able to bear you myself alone.
Because they were growing in number, right? Keep going.
The Most High your power hath multiplied you, and behold, ye are this day as the stars of heaven for a multitude.
For what?
For multitude.
Right, so the children of Israel, they continue to multiply and increase. Right? We talk about Revelation 7 and 9. We are that great multitude. Right? Let's get the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 3, verse 16. Right? It says, and we became that great multitude. The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 3, verse 16. Right? It should be page 16 in the red apocrypha. Right? The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 3, verse 16. So it says, the Most High your God has multiplied you, and behold, ye are this day as the stars of heaven, the multitude. Right?
Second Ezra chapter 3 and verse 16 say, Con, when you're there. Con, this is the book of Second Ezra chapter 3 and verse 16. And unto him thou gavest Isaac, and unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob and Esau. As for Jacob, thou didst choose him to thee, and put by Esau, and so Jacob became a great multitude.
And so Jacob became a great multitude, right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 1 and 11.
Con. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1 and verse 11. The Most High power of your fathers make you 1,000 times so many more as ye are, and bless you as he hath promised you. How can I myself alone bear your cumbrance, and your burden, and your strife? Take you wise men and understanding, and known among your tribes, and I will make them rulers over you.
Right.
And ye answered me and said, the thing which thou hast spoken is good for us to do.
Right, so he says, take you wise men and men of understanding, so I'll make them rulers over you. Meaning what? Right? The people of Israel, they needed a leader. Right? They needed someone to lead the people. Right? Keep going.
Con. Verse 14. Verse 15. So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men and known, and made them heads over you, captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, and captains over 50s, and captains over 10s, and officers among your tribes.
Right, so we see that that's where we have a ranking system, right? Right, you have Captain Nadash, who's the captain of 1,000, powerful captain, right? You got Captain Zamar, captain of 100, right? Captain Chiron, captain of 10. You have Officer Obadiah, Captain Yaakov, Officer Nathaniel in the back, right? So we see that the Bible talks about having this ranking system as well, right? And we see this also in the quote-unquote New Testament, right? Let's get Mark 6 and 40 right quick. Let's get the book of Mark, chapter 6, verse 40. All right, the book of Mark, chapter 6, verse 40. All right, so it's good to have that type of hierarchy, in any aspect. And this is where these companies, these corporations, these organizations, this is where they get this hierarchy from, right? You got the CEO, and then you got the
COO.
The COO.
You got the president.
Right,
director of operations,
right,
and so on and so forth. All the way down to the last word.
Right, so let's get Mark 6 and 40. Say, when you got it. All right, Mark 6 and 40.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 6 and verse 40. And they sat down in ranks.
They sat down, so they had to sit down in order. Keep going.
By hundreds and by 50s.
And by 50s, by hundreds and by 50s, right? So you see this understanding continue also when you talk about, quote unquote New Testament, right? So let's go back to Deuteronomy 1:15.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1 and verse 16. And I charged your judges at that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother, and the stranger that is with you. Ye shall not respect persons in judgment, but ye shall hear the small as well as the great. Ye shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is the Most High's. And the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it. And I commanded you at that time all the things which ye should do. And when ye departed from Horeb, we went through all that great and terrible wilderness, which ye saw by the way of the mountain of the Amorites, as the Most High our power commanded us, and we came to Kadesh Barnea. And I said unto you, ye are coming to the mountain of the Amorites, which the Most High our power doth give unto us. Behold, the Most High thy power hath set the land before thee. Go up and possess it. And the Most High power of thy fathers hath said unto thee, fear not, neither be discouraged. And ye came near unto me, every one of you, and said, we will send men before us, and they shall search us out the land, and bring us word again by the way we must go up. And into the cities we shall come.
Right, so now Moses basically just going to kind of recall a lot of different events that occurred up until Deuteronomy, right? When he sent the spies out in the land and things like that, right? So he's going to kind of just retell the events that occurred so far, right? Keep going.
Verse 23. And the saying pleased me well, and I took 12 men of you, one of a tribe. And they turned and went up into the mountain, and came unto the valley of Eshcol, and searched it out. And they took of the fruit of the land in their hand, and brought it down unto us, and brought us word again, and said, it is good land, which the Most High our power doth give us. Notwithstanding, ye would not go up, but rebelled against the commandment of the Most High your power. And ye murmured in your tents, and said, because the Most High hateth us, and he has brought us forth, and he had brought us forth out of the land of Egypt to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites to destroy us. Whither shall we go up? Our brethren have discouraged our hearts, saying, this people is greater and taller than we. The cities are great and walled up to heaven. And moreover, we have seen the sons of the Anakim there. Then I said unto you, dread not, neither be afraid of them. The Most High your power, which goeth before you, he shall fight for you, according to all that he did for you in Egypt before your eyes.
Right, so the son of the Anakims, right, those are people that's great and tall, right? There's the tall people who they refer to as giants, quote unquote, right? Like we brought out on last Shabbat, when you talk about Goliath, when you talk about Goliath, if you talk about, I can pull a historical reference that says Goliath was about 9 feet to 10 feet tall. Right, but according in the Christian church, I remember they used to have the pamphlets. He was just like overshadowing David.
Right.
You know, I'm like, what is going on? Right? He had a slingshot. I'm like, okay, all praises. I mean, okay, well, my faith was increased at the time, but we understand that Goliath, right? We can pull historical references that says he was only about 9 to 10 feet tall. Right, but he's referred to as what? The giant. Right? Even in the wrestling, they had this dude named Andre the Giant. Right? That word giant, a lot of people like to take the mystical, right? I say, oh, it's called a giant, brother. All right, we have to understand it's like Hebrew slang in a way, right? Let's keep going with that. You was at verse 31.
Verse 31. And in the wilderness, where thou hast seen how that the Most High thy power bare thee, as a man doth bear his son, in all the way that ye went until ye came into this place. Yet in this thing ye did not believe the Most High your power, who went in the way before you to search you out a place to pitch your tents in fire by night, to show you by what way ye should go, and in a cloud by day. And the Most High heard the voice of your words, and was wroth, and sware, saying, surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see that good land, which I swear to give unto your fathers. Save Caleb the son of Jephunneh, he shall see it, and to him will I give the land that he hath trodden upon, and to his children, because he hath wholly followed the Most High. Also the Lord was angry with me for your sake, saying, thou also shalt not go in thither. But Joshua the son of Nun, which standeth before thee, he shall go in thither. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. Moreover, your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, and your children, which in that day had no knowledge between good and evil, they shall go in thither. And unto them will I give it, and they shall possess it. But as for you, turn you, and take your journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Then ye answered and said unto me, we have sinned against the Most High. We will go up and fight according to all the Most High our power commanded us. And when ye had girded on every man his weapons of war, ye were ready to go up into the hill. And the Most High said unto me, say unto them, go not up, neither fight, for I am not with you. Salaki, for I am not among you. Yet lest ye be smitten before your enemies. So I spake unto you, and ye would not hear, but rebelled against the commandment of the Most High, and went presumptuously up into the hill. And the Amorites which dwelt in that mountain came out against you, and chased you. as bees do the destroyer, Salaki, as bees do, and destroyed you in Seir, even unto Hormah. And ye returned and wept before the Most High, but the Most High would not hearken to your voice, nor give ear unto you. So ye abode in Kadesh many days, according unto the days that ye abode there.
Right, so you see Moses kind of just retelling the events that already came to pass so far, right? Chapter 2.
Chapter 2. Then we turned and took our journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea, as the Most High spake unto me. And we compassed Mount Seir many days. And the Most High spake unto me, saying, Ye have compassed this mountain long enough, turn ye northward. And command thou the people, saying, Ye are to pass through the coast of your brethren the children of Esau, which dwell in Seir, and they shall be afraid of you. Take ye good heed unto yourselves, therefore. Meddle not with them, for I will not give you of their land, no, not so much as a foot breadth, because I have given Mount Seir unto Esau for a possession. Ye shall buy meat of them for money, that ye may eat, and ye shall also buy water of them for money, that ye may drink. For the Most High thy power hath blessed thee in all thy works of thy hand. He knoweth thy walking through this great wilderness. These 40 years the Most High thy power hath been with thee, thou hast lacked nothing.
And that's a powerful point, right? We have to understand that the Most High, He's not going to allow us to lack nothing, right? We may be feeling like we're going through a struggle, but the Most High continues to provide every time, right? At the perfect time, at that, right? So we have to just continue to trust in the Most High, because at the end of the day, we lack nothing. We have to continue to appreciate the things that the Most High continues to give us, right? Right? You know, allowing us a peaceful drive to come to Shabbat, right? Allowing us to make it throughout this work week, you know, dealing with work and job and stress and things like that. We have to understand the Most High will not allow us to lack nothing, right? Keep going with that.
Verse 8. And when we passed by from our brethren the children of Esau, which dwelt in Seir, through the way of the plain from Elath and from Gaber, we turned and passed by the way of the wilderness of Moab. And the Most High said unto me, Distress not the Moabites, neither contend with them in battle, for I will not give thee of their land for a possession, because I have given Ar unto the children of Lot for a possession. The Emims dwelt therein in times past, a people great and many, and tall as the Anakims, which also were accounted giants as the Anakims, but the Moabites called them Emims.
Right, so we got to get into the breakdown about the giants, and we good. We can move forward, right? All right,
Come on, verse 12. The Horims also dwelt in Seir before time, but the children of Esau succeeded them when they had destroyed them from before them, and dwelt in their stead, as Israel did unto the land of his possessions, which the Most High power gave unto them. Now rise up, said I, and get ye over the brook Zered. And we went over the brook Zered. And the space in which we came from Kadesh Barnea until we were come over unto the brook Zered were 38 years, until all the generation of the men of war wasted out from among the host, as the Most High swore unto them. For indeed the hand of the Most High was against them, to destroy them from amongst the host until they were consumed. So it came to pass, when all the men of war were consumed and dead from among the people, that the Most High spake unto me, saying, Thou art to pass over through Ar, the coast of Moab, this day. And when thou comest nigh over against the children of Ammon, distress them not, nor meddle with them, for I will not give thee of the land of the children of Ammon any possession, because I have given it unto the children of Lot for possession. That also was accounted a land of giants. Giants dwelt therein in old time, and the Amorites called them Zamzamims. And a people great and many and tall as the Anakims. But the Most High destroyed them from before them, and they succeeded them and dwelt in their stead, as he did in the children of Esau, which dwelt in Seir, which he destroyed the Horims from before them, and they succeeded them and dwelt in their stead, even unto this day. And the Avims, which dwelt in Hazarim, even unto Azah, the Captorims, which came forth out of Captor, destroyed them and dwelt in their stead. Rise ye up, take your journey, and pass over the river Arnon. Behold, I have given into thine hand Sihon the Amorite, king of Heshbon, and his land. Begin to possess it, and contend with him in battle. This day will I begin to put the dread of thee and the fear of thee upon the nations that are under the whole heaven. Who shall hear report of thee, and shall tremble and be in anguish because of thee? And I sent messengers out of the wilderness of Kedmoth unto Sihon king of Heshbon, with words of peace, saying, let me pass through this thy land. I will go along by the highway. I will neither turn unto the right hand nor to the left. Thou shalt sell me meat for money that I may eat, and give me water for money that I may drink. Only I will pass through on my feet, as the children of Esau which dwelt in Seir, and the Moabites which dwelt in Ar did unto me, until I shall pass over into the land which the Most High our power giveth us. But Sihon, king of Heshbon, would not let us pass by him, for the Most High thy power hardened his spirit, and he made his heart obstinate, that he might deliver him into thy hand, and appeareth this day. And the Most High said unto me, behold, I have begun to give Sihon and his land before thee. Begin to possess, that thou mayest inherit his land. Then Sihon came out against us, and he and all his people, to fight at Jahaz. And the Most High our power delivered him before us, and we smote him and his sons and all his people. And we took all his cities at that time, and utterly destroyed the men and the women and the little ones of every city. We left none to remain. Only the cattle we took for a prey unto ourselves, and the spoil of the cities which we took. From Aroer, which is by the bank of the river of Arnon, and from the city that is by the river, even unto Gilead, there was not one city too strong for us. The Most High our power delivered all unto us. Only unto the land of the children of Ammon thou camest not, nor unto any place of the river Jabbok, nor unto the cities of the mountains, nor unto whatsoever the Most High power forbade us.
Come on, all praise to the Most High, right?
Chapter 3. Then we turned and went up the way to Bashan, and Og, the king of Bashan, came out against us, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. And the Most High said unto me, fear him not, for I will deliver him and all his people and his land into thy hand, and thou shalt do unto him as thou didst unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, which dwelt at Heshbon.
Right, so when the Most High is with us, he allows us to basically just trample all over our enemies. Right, that's why it's important we hearken to the Most High, because if we don't have the enemy, especially when we talk about when we go to camp, but we don't have the Most High on our side, man, it might get ugly that night. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that we have the Most High on our side while we go to spiritual war as well. Right? Keep going.
Verse 3. So the Most High our power delivered into our hands Og, also the king of Bashan, and all his people. And we smote him until none was left to him remaining. And we took all his cities at the time. There was not a city which we took not from them. 80 cities, all the region of Argob, the kingdom of Og in Bashan. All these cities were fenced with high walls, gates and bars, besides unwalled towns a great many. And we utterly destroyed them, as we did unto Sihon, king of Heshbon, utterly destroying the men, women, and children of every city. But all the cattle and the spoil of the cities we took for a prey to ourselves. And we took at the time out of the hand of the two kings of the Amorites the land that was on this side Jordan, from the river Arnon unto Mount Hermon, which Hermon the Sidonians call Sirion, and the Amorites call it Shinir. All the cities of the plain, and all Gilead, and all Bashan, unto Salak and Edrei, cities of the kingdoms of Og and Bashan. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of giants. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. It is, Salakia, is it not in Rabath of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth of it, and the cubit of a man.
Right, so it says, it is not in Rabath of the children of Ammon. 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth of it, after the cubit of a man. So they're saying this is the side of the bed, right?
I already did.
What you got on that, sis?
Man, 14 feet
Wow.
in length and 6 feet in width.
Right, so that's what you consider a giant.
Well,
Right.
I remember doing that math too. Now, when you look at your own bed, a regular queen size bed, it's really only about, it's really about 10 feet already, right? And then when you lay across it, I'm like 5'11". My head and my feet hang off, so that means it's about probably like 4.5, 5 feet across. So when you look at that, because you got to think about the mattress and the headboard, right? So you're adding into that equation the headboard and the footboard, which is going to extend it. Your legs and your head aren't going to go past that. So in actuality, he's, it's comparable. He's a big guy, but
Oh, come on, I said made of iron.
Made of iron.
So,
hey, he must have had some movers. God.
Right, so excellent, right? So, yeah, that's probably the extent of how these, that's considered a giant. What you got?
Shike got a bed, this thing is like 15 feet wide and 30 feet. 15 by 30. It's bigger than that.
He was a king, right? He was a king, right? This is a king we're talking about. Now, when you look into that, just because you look like I know T.I., right? He got his show. His bed is huge, and he's not a big guy. He's a small guy. So you got to think when you got royalty, they're gonna overdo it anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, it says Shaq's bed is 15 feet wide and 30 feet long. Right? Now we not the brothers, right? But that's just to show, like, okay, well, when these people are at this type of stature, right? Yeah, they're not gonna have a normal size like you would have.
that's like a California king.
Right, calm. Right, so no, calm. Come on for the measurements.
All right, verse 12. And this land which we possessed at the time from Aurora, which is by the river Arnon, and half Mount Gilead, and the cities thereof gave I unto the Reubenites and to the Gadites. And the rest of Gilead and all Bashan, being the kingdom of Og, gave I unto the half tribe of Manasseh. All the region of Argob, with all Bashan, which was called the land of giants. Jair, the son of Manasseh, took all the country of Argob unto the coast of Geshuri and Maaccathai, and called them after his own name, Bashan Havoth Jair, unto this day. And I gave unto Gilead unto Machir, and unto the Reubenites and unto the Gadites I gave from Gilead even unto the river Arnon, half the valley, and the border even unto the river Jabbok, which is the border of the children of Ammon. The plain also, and Jordan, and the coast thereof, from Chinnereth, even unto the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, under Ashdod Pisgah, eastward. And I commanded you at the time, saying, the Most High your power hath given you this land to possess it. Ye shall pass over armed before your brethren, the children of Israel, all that are meet for the war. But your wives and your little ones and your cattle, for I know that ye have much cattle, shall abide in your cities which I have given you, until the Most High have given rest unto your brethren, as well as unto you, and until they also possess the land which the Most High your power hath given them beyond Jordan.
Right.
And then shall you return every man unto his possession, which I have given you. And I commanded Joshua at that time, saying, thine eyes have seen all that the Most High your power hath done unto these two kings. So shall the Most High do unto all the kingdoms whither thou passest.
Right.
Ye shall not fear them, for the Most High your power shall fight for you. And I besought the Most High at that time, saying,
That's it on that.
oh, Salakia.
That's the end of the portion, right?
Come on, Salakia.
All praise to the Father, around you. Get on the side.
Yeah.
All praise to the Father, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We went into a lot of different things. All praise to the Most High. This is why, I love Shabbat, right? To continue to congregate, seeing my brothers and sisters, keep the commandments of the Most High. It's a beautiful thing, man. Right? Let me get that scripture right quick, the first John right quick. Right? Seeing, our people coming to this fold. Let's get the book of 1 John chapter. 2 John chapter 1 verse 4. Right? Let me get the book of 2 John chapter 1 verse 4.
Con, 2 John chapter 1 verse 4.
Book of 2 John chapter 1 verse 4. Right? It's a beautiful thing to see the brothers and sisters coming together and keep the commandments of the Lord, man. Right? I look forward to this thing, man. You know what I'm saying? This is where we recharge. People are wicked, man. I seen it on Twitter the other day. This girl tweeted. She said, I'm not going to work 5 days a week and then give 1 day to church. Like, she's like basically saying, like, I'm not going to be working all this week and then get another day to the Most High, right? Like, come on, man. Right? The Most High, he's giving us 6 days to work. He's elected for 1. Right? Like what Priest Kahan says, he says that, what if the Most High gave us 6 days? He took 6 days, he only gave us 1 day.
Right.
Right? So, our praise to the Most High, we continue to dwell in righteousness, 2 John chapter 1 verse 4.
Con, this is the book of 2 John chapter 1 and verse 4.
Right?
I rejoice greatly that I found of thy children walking in truth, as we have received a commandment from the Father.
Right, so we rejoice when we see our brothers and sisters walking in the truth. That being said, I just want to say thank you to the sister that came through. It's her first time.
Yeah.
I praise the Most High. You know, we have a family here. You know, we have Sister Quinaya, powerful sister, right? You know, it's definitely a family here. You know, we definitely appreciate, you know, the questions and the just attending is very important. You know, it's a family, it's a sisterhood, and it's a brotherhood. We want to continue to increase the sisterhood side as well. You know, the brothers. You know, brothers are we get, right? But the sisterhood, we try to make it stronger. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, all praise to the Most High. Let me get one more. 3 John 1 verse 4. The book of 3 John chapter 1. 3 John 4.
Con. One page.
Right.
This is the book of 3 John, verse 4.
Right.
I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth.
Right. So we have joy when we see that the children of Israel is walking in this truth. Right. That's keeping the commandments of the Lord. Right. We can't ask for anything else. Right. But to keep the commandments of the Lord and seeing the Most High word not return void. Right. I had 2 more points I wanted to bring out about the Hebrew. Okay. All right. So now, when you talk about the word God, right? Even when you talk about the word God, that word God is not only applicable, right, to the Most High God, right? The word God is not applicable to the Most High God. That can be referred to the angels, right? We can be referred to as God, right? But when you read the English tongue, it kind of just seems like it's the same thing, right? So even the word God, understanding the Hebrew on that shows you that there's a difference in that as well, right? For another example, I lost my train of thought. Okay, it was God. Yeah, it was God, but there's another word. The word worship, right? The word worship. Now, there's 2 different Greek words for worship. Now, does anybody know what the word for worship? I know Captain Yaakov, right? But what's the word for worship? There's 2 different words for worship in the Greek as well, right? It's latreia and proskuneo. Right, we can see that we are getting quote unquote proskuneo. Right, the men can receive worship. David received worship. He received proskuneo. Christ received proskuneo. Right, but the only person that received the ultimate worship is Yahweh. That's latreia when you go into the Greek. Right, so even when you talk about the word worship, it's not the same word that applies to the same group of people. Right, because we could be proskuneo. The Most High could be proskuneo. The angels could be proskuneo. Right, but the only person that can receive latreia or ultimate worship is the Most High God. Right, so this is why it helps more to kind of just identify these different things in the scriptures. So celebrates the Most High. So what we do, at the end of the class, we basically just go around and kind of just ask questions about what we learned. Right. So I'm not gonna have to pick on the brother. The brother was in the spiritual space. He was in the sunken place. Brother Ahmad, what did we learn today? Right.
That Judah is referred to as a Jew.
Okay, Judah is referred to as a Jew. Okay, what's the word for a real Jew in Hebrew, and what's the word for a fake Jew in Hebrew?
In Israel
No, in the Hebrew. Okay, so that's probably a deep question. So, all right, so we understand that the fake Jew is Yehudi, right? No, it's like Yahad. Yahad. That's the word for a fake Jew, Yahad. The word for a real Jew is Yehudi, right? What else did we learn today? What you got, kid?
You gotta watch.
You gotta watch and pray in these last days, man. You have to know when to identify when a spirit is a spirit. Right? Sometimes I'll be just chilling, like, what I'm saying, going through my day-to-day, I'm like, what just happened? It's like a cloud just kind of came over my spirit, man. But you gotta realize, okay, I know what's going on. Right? Sometimes you think that you're good, but next thing you know, you just got caught up. Right? So we definitely have to watch spiritually as well. Right? What you got, sis?
Israel will be the first to receive the Most High's judgment.
That's right. The judgment begins at the house of the Most High. Right? That's why when we say these prayers, I always pray that the Most High allows us to be clean and blameless in His sight. Right? When we talk about 1 Thessalonians 5:27, if I'm not mistaken. Right? To be clean and blameless in the eyes of the Most High. Sister Rakah.
Before you look at the word, you should have a good understanding.
That's powerful. All praise to the Most High. Sister, Right? All praise to the Most High. That's literally the primary objective of this entire class. Right? To understand that we have to build ourselves up in the faith before we can go out to teach, before we can, do these things like that, right? You get these doctrines and understanding, can't just try to go out and try to cut everybody. There's too much we have to learn first, right? We have to build ourselves up in the spirit. What you got, sis?
The Most High knew us even before we were formed in the belly.
That's right. The Most High knew us even before we were formed in the womb. Right? He predestinated us. Right? He predestinated the children of Israel. Right? It's not doing He predestinated the children of Israel to be a prophet unto the nations. Right? Well, what you got, Brother Shaquat? What you learned, King?
You gotta learn from someone before you go out.
That's right. You got to learn the principles, the chief things, right? Now, I got a question for the class. When the Bible talks about wine, what does that represent? All right, what you got, sis?
Doctrine.
Let's talk about doctrines, philosophies, right? There's over 41,000 different denominations in Christianity. 41,000, right? That's a lot of different wines. Right, just imagine the store that you walk in, 41,000 different type of flavors. I could drink this lawless.
That's ABC wine.
ABC wine, right? That's ABC wine, man. Right? These places are crazy. They're right with wine and spirits.
Wine and spirits.
Right? So these places, right? That's that spiritual drink, that spiritual drunkenness, right? That wine represents that doctrine, that philosophy, right? When the scriptures talk about milk, is that talking about almond milk? Right? I'm talking about the milk that you put in your cereal with frosted flakes and Cheerios.
Coconut.
Right? Coconut. What's the milk represented in the scriptures? What you got, King?
The word.
The word, right? Now, what part of the word?
The easygoing.
The easygoing parts, right? The chief thing, the foundation, the principal things, right? That's the milk of the word, right? Now, brother said, I'm lactose intolerant, brother. I can't take the word, right? No, it's talking about the word, right? The beginning stages of the word, right? Now, what does the meat represent? Right?
That hard part.
The hard parts, right? You talk about getting into deep prophecies and things like that, right? You go into these books like Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Revelation, things like that. The second Ezra, Daniel, right? You talk about the kingdoms and things like that. You know what I'm saying? These things they're on the more meaty portion of the scriptures, right? You got to chew that down. You got to be able to digest that, right? So even when you talk about Revelation 5 or it's like Revelation 10, it talks about when you come into this truth. It's sweet at first. You learn the commandments of God and things like that. But when you start to see that, okay, well, now you know that you're an Israelite, there's judgments that has to come to pass. That's the bitter part of it. Right, let me get that example right quick. Revelation.
I know it's in Ezekiel too. Ezekiel 3:1.
He talks about the
bitterness.
The bitterness of the word, right? Give me a Revelation 10:9 right quick. Right? Give me Revelation chapter 10, verse 9.
All right. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 10 and verse 9.
Right?
I went unto the angel and said unto him, Give me the little book.
Give me the little book, right? Keep going.
And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up.
Right, so now what's he literally just took a book and digested the whole thing?
No.
Right, you got paper, you got the whole, this is a hardcover book. He's trying to digest that. Right? Keep going.
And it shall make thy belly bitter.
Right?
But it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey.
Right, so you come into this truth, you learn the doctrine and commandments, right? But there's a lot of things that come with it. Now you realize, okay, well, now your family looking at you crazy because you're keeping the commandments. Right? You got to separate yourself from the world. Right? You cannot go after the pleasures and the lust of the flesh. Right? These are the bitter things. Keep going.
Con. Verse 10. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up.
Right?
And it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter.
Right?
And he said unto me, Thou must prophesy again before many people and nations and tongues and kings.
Right? So we see that little book, right? Receiving the word is sweet. Right? We know that we're the children of Israel, like we brought out in Romans 9:4. It's sweet to know that the covenants, the adoption, the giving of the law, the promises was given unto us. Right? But the thing is, when you talk about the greater parts of the world, you see these other, your people that you live with, right? The scriptures talk about they may be foes of your household. Right? When you start to understand this truth. Right? So one more, what else did we learn today? Right, what you guys say?
The Most High judgment is now.
The Most High's judgment is now. That's why we got to prepare and make ourselves more blameless and white as snow, man. All right, let me get that scripture because that's one of my favorite scriptures. Let's go to 1 Thessalonians. First Thessalonians 5 and start at verse 23. Right? The Most High's judgment is now. We have to be prepared for that judgment. Even when we go out to camp, we say, man, we want the Most High to send swift judgment on these wicked brothers and sisters we be talking to. Right? But we got to be ready for the judgment ourselves as well. Right? That's why it's important we make sure we are girded up in the spirit, that we good. When the Most High judgment comes, we kind of like on the viewing end of it, right? We're not on the receiving end, we're on the viewing end of it, right? Let's go to First Thessalonians 5 and 23. Say, Colin, we got it. All right, the book of First Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 23. Say, Colin, we got it.
This is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 23.
Right.
And the very power of peace sanctify you wholly. And I pray the Most High, your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless.
Preserved what?
Blameless unto the coming of our outer one, Hamashiach Yahushua.
Right, so we want to be preserved blameless in the eyes of the Most High, man. Without blame. Right? Now, how do we know that we're blameless? Let's go to Luke 1. Right quick. All right? Let's go to Luke 1 and 5. Let's see what it means to be blameless.
Luke 1 and 5. Say, Colin, you got it. This is the book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 5. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias,
right,
of the course of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth.
Right.
And they were both righteous before the Most High, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Most High, blameless.
They were what?
Blameless.
So what does it mean to be blameless? It's about walking into all the commandments of the Most High, keeping the statutes and the judgments of the Most High, right? Keeping the commandments of the Most High. All right, one last scripture and we can end it off. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 14. All right, let's get the book of 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 14.
Con. This is the
Say when you got it. All right, the book of 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 14. We'll give it a couple seconds.
good answers in the chat too, for everybody that's participating in regards to what you learned. Great answers. This is the book of 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 14. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent, that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot, and blameless. And blameless.
Right, so we have to make sure we have that spirit, right? To be without spot and blameless. Right? The scripture talking about keeping yourself unspotted from the world. Right? Meaning what? You're not acting like the world, you're not dealing with the world, right? Being blameless and making sure your garment is clean and white as snow. Right? So all praise to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I pray that everybody was edified, and everybody was taking notes, everybody was, hearkening and, receiving the word with all readiness of mind and with gladness, right? Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns before we send up the 9th hour prayer? What you guys
I have a comment regarding the history of Haiti. You shortly talked about the accolades are giving to the wrong person. Toussaint was in prison when the revolution was done. So it's Dessalines who deserves all of the glories, but they gave it to him thanks to Esau, because he doesn't want people to know. Toussaint wanted to be a diplomat. When he was going to meet with the army, what's his name, army? He was the one who the Americans purchased Louisiana from. Napoleon.
Okay, Napoleon.
So when he was going to meet with them, and Dessalines told him not to go there. not to meet because he didn't trust Esau. He said not to meet with them. He said he's going anyways because they would be diplomatic. They weren't. So they took him to some island, and he was in prison. As a matter of fact, he died because of malnutrition. They didn't feed him. And when he died, that's when they realized they should have kept him alive. Because perhaps they would still have Haiti. So after they captured him, Dessalines say, the word they say in French, alage comme alage, it's on. So Dessalines took over and beat them. It wasn't Toussaint. Toussaint was in jail.
When I was reading about Toussaint, he kind of was giving me like some type of Cornish vibes. Because he was like, because he was kind of
call him a coconut, that he's black on the outside,
but he's white on the inside. No, that's what I read about. Like Toussaint, he was not necessarily don't I don't want to be mentioned to you. He was not necessarily the revolutionist. Like he was kind of at the beginning stages of it, but he was trying to make a coalition with the French, right? Trying to say, let's kind of have peace and things like that.
Can we all get along?
Can we all get along? But that's after those thousands have already, plantations getting slaughtered. They're not trying to have no kind of conversation with them.
Like Martin Luther King, he was sleeping with the Caucasian women too.
Wow.
He was doing that. So,
Right.
yeah.
That's why when I was like, he's kind of like the coon of our day, man. Right. But there's a coon in every nation. You know what I'm saying? So. A coconut. That's funny, yeah, bro. This brother a coconut. All praise to the Most High, So, excellent edification. That's excellent class. The water system for the edification on that as well. All praise. This is what it's all about. Just reading, getting the history and the knowledge of the Most High and of the children of Israel. Right? Did we have any announcements in the chat? Let's see.
While y'all looking up the announcements, New Moon is on the 26th, which is a Friday. Are we going to be keeping it here?
On the 26th of August?
Yes.
That's a good question. That's for Cat. We're going to have to talk about that on the call.
Yeah, let's discuss it.
Yeah, we can discuss that tomorrow or Monday. And we could definitely discuss that. We'll probably come on and answer next week. And I think we had like one new moon or something. No, two new moons here so far. One?
Yeah.
Okay,
Friday, Friday, yeah.
Alright, so, okay. Oh man, today is the time I need.
We don't do it.
Okay, come on. Alright, come on. Next week, time
I just want to
I
make sure we get all the updates. We had council tonight for
Yeah.
soldiers, so I just want to make sure we get all the updates from them first, and then do it next week so we can provide it next week. I'll talk to them.
It says that school renovation, painting and lighting. Okay, that's the headquarters. So the headquarters has school renovation, all praises. They got painting and lighting improved, all praises to the Most High. They have a certified food pantry by Feeding South Florida, containing food supplies for the community. So all praises, they have a food drive. Now they're authorized to be able to do a food drive down there in the headquarters. School supply giveaway after service by House of Wildview. So I guess at the headquarters they have a school giveaway. Monday, August 8th, sisters class. Now, by a show of hands, who has participated in the sisters class? I'll see on the sisters side. Okay, Con. Okay, sisters, all praises to the Most High, right? The sisters class is very powerful. I encourage all the sisters to log into the sisters class. It usually starts at
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Right? So it's good to have. They're doing the final part of Fruits of the Spirit. So that'll definitely be a good class. It's a Google meeting. Definitely something to tune into every. I guess it's every other Monday. So I'll praise to the Father, room, I and Jacob. Do we have any other announcements or things we want to get into?
We'll give updates about the charity drive we're trying to accomplish. That should come next week. Obviously, the school is still in the same standing. We don't have to be out here next, our lease is up, so just keep that in mind. I'll give an update when we start trying to look for another place about moving. I just want to make sure that we kind of cross our T's and dot our I's with our next place. I don't want to be in the same situation where we keep moving and moving and moving. I want to make sure our next place is more of a solid foundation. So we kind of got set up with our praise to the Most High that provided this place for us. So,
I'll praise the Most
we'll
High.
get more of this.
I'll praise the Most High. I just encourage everyone to continue to fast and pray, continue to study, continue to stay in the Word, to stay on fire for the Word, continue to pray for our brothers and sisters. Do not suffer in silence. There's too many brothers and sisters in there to be suffering in silence. Continue to reach out to your brothers and sisters if you need encouragement, exhortation to lift yourself up in the Spirit as well. Continue to check on your brothers and sisters throughout the week. Right? Sometimes we get so consumed with work that we forget that our brothers and sisters just need a word of encouragement or motivation or whatever the case may be. So let's continue to pray for one another, continue to fast and pray for one another, and just stay on fire for the word, All praise to the Father, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So we're going to send up the 9th hour prayer, right? Amanyam or Panya Yerashim, Santa Fe, Jerusalem.
This is the book of Psalm 67. Read and repeat. Yahweh be merciful unto us.
Yahweh be merciful unto us.
And bless us.
And bless us.
And cause his face to shine upon us.
And cause his face to shine upon us.
Salah.
Salah.
That thy way may be known upon earth.
That thy way may be known upon earth.
Thy saving health among all nations.
Thy saving health among all nations.
Let the people praise thee.
Let the people praise thee.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Let all the people praise thee.
Let all the people praise thee.
O let the nations be glad and sing for joy.
O let the nations be glad and sing for joy.
For thou shalt judge the people righteously.
For thou shalt judge the people righteously.
And govern the nations upon earth.
And govern the nations upon earth.
Salah.
Salah.
Let the people praise thee.
Let the people praise thee.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Let all the people praise thee.
Let all the people praise thee.
Then shall the earth yield her increase.
Then shall the earth yield her increase.
And Yahweh, even our own power, shall bless us.
Shall bless us.
Yahweh shall bless us.
Yahweh shall bless us.
And all the ends of the earth shall fear him.
And all the ends of the earth shall fear him.
Bahashem, Hamashiach,
Yahweh Shai,
the water, the Yad, Man.
Hallelujah.
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 All praises to the Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Call Lord Yahweh, through Yahweh, Baruch Yahweh. Thank you, Yahweh, for allowing us to continue to keep the Shabbat in peace. Thank you, Yahweh, for allowing us to continue to dwell in brotherhood and sisterhood. Most High, we repent of all our sins, transgressions, and iniquities, Yahweh. I pray that you will allow us to continue to be clean and blameless in your sight, Yahweh. Most High, allow us to continue to stay on fire for your word. Continue to increase us in the faith. While with anything that happens, Yahweh, we are not shaken, and that you put us upon a solid foundation. Also, I pray that for the brothers and sisters that continue to keep the Shabbat, that continue to come and dwell in brotherhood and sisterhood, I pray that you continue to protect all our going out and coming in, and that you have your righteous angels encamp around us, Yahweh. Also, I pray for Captain Gadash, Alma, and Alvin, Most High. I pray that you just restore them back to full health, Yahweh, that you make them whole again, Yahweh. Most High, I pray for the children of Israel, Yahweh. I ask that you continue to bless them and protect them. Continue to let no evil thing come upon those that keep the commandments of the Father and have faith in the Son. Also, I ask that you continue to allow us to stay on the path of righteousness. Continue to guide our steps and to lead us into all righteousness. Continue to allow us to lead us into truth, Yahweh. Also, I pray that you give us that spiritual armor throughout the week, that we are able to fight against the enemy's devices, that we're sober and vigilant, that you continue to allow us to be watchful in the Spirit. Most High, I'm thankful for all that you've done and all that you continue to do. Most High, I give you all glory, honor, and praise by Hashem, Mashiach, Al-Shah, throughout the Yad. Man. Hallelujah.
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 All praises. There's no
Power like Yahweh, great King of the universe, always doing wondrous things. Let all Israel sing amen. Amen, 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 amen. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Amen, 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 amen. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. One, Abraham.
Praise the Lord, God. Shalom,